Good morning. Well, when it's not power cuts, it's water woes. What happens when it's both at the same time? Well, you get the situation that's currently unfolding in the country's capital. An electricity booster station went down over the weekend, which in turn affected a major reservoir, throttling water capacity in parts of the metro. Nqobile Madlala has updates on the situation for us. Nqobile, what are residents saying? No power, no water. It must feel a little bit like doomsday without exaggerating, because if you've got a small baby or looking after an elderly person, you're in trouble.
Definitely in trouble. From what we have heard from some of the residents that we've spoken to, some of them just saying that they woke up to no water, others saying that they woke up to low pressure water. I mean, there was a lady that we spoke to much earlier on. She wasn't so keen to be on camera, but she was just saying that she's just exhausted. She said the reason why she didn't even want to speak to us is because she feels that it doesn't matter what they say at this point, it keeps continuing and they don't really know what to do. And so she wasn't really so keen. But from what we have heard at this point from the city is that quite a number of areas have been affected over and above of the statements that they had sent out saying that these are the areas that are expected to be affected. We are hearing from the city that their reservoirs at this point are much lower than what they were anticipating, and we know that at the time that they sent out a statement, they had said there was about 58%, but of course they'll go back to understand just how much water is left. Now we know that this issue is something that's trickling in as they go during the day, because they're finding out more areas are starting to feel the pressure. But before I go on to understand more about those areas, I want to bring in our guest today who says that she has been affected from about 2 days ago. So ma'am, perhaps just give us an idea, what did you see those 2 days ago?
Okay, my little sister's the one who noticed it, that the water pressure was a bit weird from usual. But then I didn't really take it to consideration, because I was just like, okay, maybe it's just our tap or something, it'll go away. And then a day later, the water came out a bit slowly. So then I was just like, okay, I mean, you know, it didn't. But then today I found that it was a bit fine. So I'm not so sure what's going on. It's the first time I hear about this also.
All right.
Yeah.
And tell me, when you don't have water, how does that affect you? Because, I mean, I know that you said you're from the mainland side, and these are the areas that are expected to get a hard hit as we go forward. How does it affect you to not have some water?
Well, my dad goes to work in the morning, so obviously that's going to affect bathing time. Also cooking, we use a lot of water for cooking and drinking. So that's probably going to create a lot of frustration on how to move forward and what we should use the water for and how to save water. So I'm not so sure. So yeah.
All right. And what would you like to see happen here? I mean, we've seen these issues with load shedding and water. As a young person, you go to school or you work at this point, but how this affects you in a certain way, like you're saying, what would you like to see happen?
Action, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. Also, maybe being informed. I feel like we should really be informed. There's a lot of things that we don't know about for a number of reasons. But yeah, involve people, do actually what you say you're going to do. That's all I can say, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Well, that's one of the residents in the area. Now, we do understand from the city that the areas that are going to be affected are the areas that are in the east as well as the north. Now, she's from the mainland side, and that's the areas, eNCA, that are also expected to be seeing less pressure in terms of their taps. I mean, we heard earlier, even the spokesperson of the city was just saying that he himself has been affected. Some of his colleagues were even affected much earlier on, and he's saying that they are trying their best to try and sort the situation, but it's understandable that in their understanding that this is not just their problem, but it's also Rand Water as much as Eskom, which we do understand at this point that Ekurhuleni has been trying to sort out those transformers, but those trying out to sort those transformers hasn't been really coming out. Those tries haven't been coming out with the actual answers that they need for the people. And so whilst they try to sort out those transformers, that means for the people that need some water to be pumped into their houses from these reservoirs into the reservoirs, that will be giving them water. This might just mean that they might have to wait a little longer. I mean, the city even going as far as saying that they can't estimate because this is beyond their hands.
Nqobile, thank you so much. We'll keep in touch with you, and hopefully both situations, which are pretty dire, will be sorted out later in the day.